All right, hello and welcome to our live chats with the International Students and Programs Office and Chinese Union. I'm just going to allow for a few minutes for all of you to join us, but we are very excited to have you with us this morning and answer any questions that you may have. Just as you are joining us, I wanted to highlight that this session is being recorded, and that recording will be available later at iwebinars.ucsd.edu. So before we begin, just wanted to let you all know. Okay, so it looks like a few of you have joined us, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're lucky to have a few different staff members from the International Students and Programs Office join us today. So we have Dulce, our Director of the International Students and Programs Office, Gabriela Hoffman, the Assistant Director of Student Experience and Engagement at ISPO, myself, Grace Fuller, the Manager of Student Experience and Engagement, as well as Lisa Swit, an International Student Advisor at the International Student Programs Office, or ISPO. This is a brief agenda of what we'll be covering today, so a little introduction and welcome. We've also received from some of your student leaders common questions that the Chinese Union has been receiving. So we have compiled those together and put together some answers for those, so we hope that that will be helpful for you all. We're also going to highlight different ISPO programs and events and ways for you to get involved both now and as well as into the future. And then we'll highlight some upcoming webinars and other resources, and we'll end our time together with Q&A. So we do ask that you wait maybe until the end to ask your questions, as that will be the dedicated portion, and we might answer some of those in our common questions. I just wanted to highlight a brief functionality. So on your screen, you should see something with a Q&A box, and that is on the control panel. And so that is going to be the functionality that you'll use to actually ask any questions you have. So if we don't cover your questions during our common questions portion, that can be a feature you use to ask any additional questions. So a little bit about the International Students and Programs Office. So we offer a multitude of different services and engagement opportunities. We cover pre-arrival and orientation, so we're very excited to welcome our incoming class. We also offer advising services as well as visa and status support services, and those are all now primarily via Zoom so that we can be as accessible as possible. And then finally, we also offer programs and events to engage our student population. And with that, I will hand it over to Dulce.
Hi, thank you, Grace. And hi, everyone. It's morning here at UC San Diego, but I want to wish everyone a good evening and congratulations on your admission to UC San Diego. This particular webinar is sponsored again by the International Students and Programs Office. We call ourselves ISPO for the acronym ISPO. So you might hear me say that throughout the presentation. And then also the Chinese Union, a student organization at UC San Diego. We also hope that you and your family are all healthy and well, and we're really excited to welcome you to UC San Diego soon, and we hope that this webinar and future engagement with our office will be helpful so that you can plan ahead and look forward to calling San Diego your new home soon. We know that the global challenges that are posed by COVID-19 have posed challenges specific to our international students. So what I want to share with you briefly is what UC San Diego is doing to prioritize the health and safety of our faculty, staff, and students, and to prepare for the upcoming fall term. As you know, UC San Diego intends to offer both a remote and in-person instruction option for students. And in particular, for our incoming international students and non-resident students who are first year, you can start your journey as part of the UC San Diego Triton family. Now that you've accepted your offer, you will soon be able to enroll in classes for the fall term. UC San Diego has also developed a unique opportunity for newly admitted first year students. So know that if you cannot physically be here in the fall term, you can still be part of the Triton family by enrolling in remote courses in the fall term, and then you can join us in the winter term so that you can join your cohort and begin making progress towards your degree. In addition, the International Students and Programs Office continues to issue immigration documents called I20s or DS 2019s to all incoming international students to facilitate the visa application process. So if you haven't already done so, you can access that through our portal at iportal.ucsd.edu. In addition, UC San Diego is currently implementing a Return to Learn program where current students at UC San Diego who are living on campus are voluntarily testing for COVID-19. And then we're also implementing a contact tracing method. We're doing this pilot program to ensure that we're relying on our public health experts to make decisions and guide our policy so that we can return to campus in a safe and healthy manner as soon as possible. The last point I wanted to make is that we're all working very hard to continue to adapt and make opportunities available to you. And we're committed to keeping you informed about information as they evolve. Please continue to rely on messages coming from either the Undergraduate Admissions Office if you're an undergraduate student, or the Graduate Admissions Office if you're an incoming graduate student. And of course, the International Students and Programs Office. We send email communication frequently, but also on our website. Again, what we will now do is the Chinese Union has collected some questions prior to the webinar. So we plan to answer those questions for the next 30 minutes. And then afterwards, my colleagues and I will then be answering questions from you, the participants. So again, congratulations, and let's get started on the webinar.
Good morning, everybody. This is Gabi Hoffman. Grace introduced me a little bit earlier this morning. As she mentioned, the Assistant Director for International Student Experience and Engagement at ISPO. And like Dulce and Grace, I want to welcome all of you to UCSD. We're excited to welcome our students this fall, and we want to make sure we're providing you with all of the information possible so that you can make informed decisions about how to move forward and how to begin your program here at UCSD. So Grace and I are going to go through a few slides here. Again, as Dulce mentioned, these are common questions we're getting and are important ones that we want to make sure we address for all of you. So our first question here, the biggest one is, of course, if I accept my offer of admission for this fall, what are my options for enrolling? So the answer to that is that if you are unable to arrive on campus physically here this fall due to the travel restrictions that, of course, we are all aware of, or if you have visa issues or any other issue related to COVID-19, UC San Diego can offer virtual enrollment so you can join your cohort and begin progress on your degree from the very beginning. You can accept your offer, register for fall, enroll in your courses offered remotely, and then join us in person for winter quarter. So we really look forward to seeing you in winter at that point. But if you're not able to make it, that's okay. You can still get a start on your studies. If you're unable to provide final official documents and test scores before August 28th to admissions, you can still have another option to enroll as well. UC San Diego is also providing the option to enroll in courses through concurrent enrollment offered at UC San Diego Extension.
Great. Okay, so our next common question that we've been receiving is, do I still need to apply for my I20 or DS 2019 if I plan to do remote start instruction for fall 2020? And the answer is yes. So even if you plan to take all of your classes remotely for summer and or fall of this year from outside of the United States, you should still obtain an I20 or a DS 2019 document from the International Students and Programs Office, or ISPO, with a fall start date, and then attempt to book a visa appointment in your home country as soon as they become available. So we understand that there are different situations in different countries, but when you can, we encourage you to book that visa appointment. And please note that due to the fluid nature of COVID-19 and its impacts, guidance regarding I-20 and DS 2019 document issuance from the Student and Exchange Visitor Program may change. So ISPO will provide further guidance and next steps to all students immediately if this occurs.
Okay, the next common question is, will ISPO be sending me my original I20 or DS 2019 document, or can I use an electronic copy? So yes, ISPO is still going to continue issuing and mailing students original I20 or DS 2019 documents. Though Immigration and Customs Enforcement released guidance allowing the issuance of electronic I20s, further clarification of these guidelines established that this only applies to certain situations. Use of an original I20 and DS 2019 is still preferred for both visa issuance and for international travel. We understand that visa services are currently suspended at most US consulates around the world, with appointment availability for some countries after the start of UCSD's fall quarter. However, in the event that appointments open earlier, we want our students prepared with their documents in hand. Again, as Grace mentioned in the earlier slide, with guidance from the Student Exchange Visitor Program being updated pretty regularly, if this guidance changes, we will let you know. Some students might need to have an electronic copy, and if this guidance changes, we will inform our students and keep you updated on that process. But so far, we'll be issuing original documents that contains really important information in your welcome pack from UC San Diego to get you started on your journey here at UCSD.
Our next common question is, I'm concerned that I will not be able to receive my visa documents due to restrictions on mailing services. What can I do? So the International Students and Programs Office, or ISPO, recommends checking with express mail carriers directly to verify whether they are able to send documents to your region of the world, as this information can change on a daily basis. So we have listed some common mail carriers below, but if you are not able to receive express mail in your region of the world, please contact us to consult with an ISPO advisor about your options.
Okay, so another common question we're getting from our students wanting to take summer classes. If I'm an incoming student and want to take summer session classes remotely, do I have to apply for an early I-20? So if you are an undergraduate student and decide to enroll in remote summer 1, 2, or 3 this year and will remain outside the US, you do not need a special summer start I-20 from ISPO. You will be issued a fall 2020 start date. You are not required to enroll full-time, which is counted as 6 units per session for summer session, if you take your courses outside the United States. If you are part of a required early summer program, for example, the SPICE or IDEA programs that run on campus, you'll still receive an I-20 or DS 2019 with a special summer start date as needed. If this is the case, be sure to complete the required new admit special start I-20 or DS 2019 request. But note that because summer session for 2020 is fully remote, we are encouraging students to obtain their fall I-20, which still allows you to take your classes remotely through the summer session.
All right, another question about summer session that we've received is, if I am taking summer session courses outside of the United States, do I still need to meet the health insurance and immunization requirements? So these are 2 separate issues, so we want to speak to them each directly. So for the immunization requirements, these requirements are actually only required for fall quarter and are not needed for summer session courses. However, for health insurance, if students are registered at UC San Diego, and that includes summer session courses, then they are still held to the same insurance requirements. Students who have other insurance that meets UC waiver criteria may opt out of UC SHIP, and SHIP stands for the Student Health Insurance Plan, by submitting a health fee waiver, or they will be automatically enrolled in UC SHIP. So Student Health Services is actually allowing students with their home country coverage to file waivers while they are remote learning. So this is a common question we've been receiving, and if you are interested in opting out of UC SHIP with your current health insurance, then we encourage you to learn more at the link listed below.
Okay, common question number 7. I am anxious about getting my visa in time, and I'm thinking about deferring my admission for fall 2020 to either the following winter quarter of 2021 or the following academic year, so fall of 2021, due to coronavirus concerns. What can I do? So although students are able to defer, we strongly encourage students to take advantage of virtual enrollment so you can join your cohort and begin progress on your degree now. However, to request a deferral, and to be clear, a deferral means that you do not want to begin your studies until after fall of 2020, students must contact their academic department, which we've linked here, this is for graduate students, or their college, this is for undergraduate students. You'll need to contact them directly to arrange this. These requests are considered on a case-by-case basis. And if you do receive approval to postpone starting your studies until winter or after, then you will request an amendment form if you've already received your I-20 from us. You'll request an amendment form through the iPortal so we can adjust the start date on your I-20 for you. More information will be sent about that specific amendment form over the next few weeks to all newly admitted students. So be sure to check your email for that.
Our next common question is, can I still live in UC San Diego housing when I arrive on campus for winter quarter 2021? Will I still have a housing guarantee? This is an excellent question, and we recognize that housing is an integral part of the student experience. Detailed information regarding housing is still being finalized and will be available to prospective students and families soon. But UC San Diego is working to identify solutions for all students upon their arrival to campus.
Okay, so how is UC San Diego responding to the pandemic in order to prepare for the fall 2020? In addition to remote learning opportunities and support that we've been talking about, a team of UC San Diego clinicians, research experts, and others launched a new program called Return to Learn. The Return to Learn program aims to broadly test students, faculty, and staff on campus on a recurring basis for presence of the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. This evidence-based program, which includes plans for contact tracing and isolation housing for on-campus resident students who test positive for the virus, is intended to better position UC San Diego to resume in-person activities when fall classes begin in September 2020, while prioritizing the health and safety of our community. So you can learn more about the Return to Learn program at the link here, coronavirus.ucsd.edu, which is the university's official page that disseminates information about the coronavirus and how the campus is addressing issues related to it here at UCSD.
All right, and so our last final common question is, how can I be a successful student in a remote learning environment? So UC San Diego is committed to ensuring that all students have the resources and access they need to ensure their academic success. Students can visit keeplearning.ucsd.edu, as well as virtual academic and English resources on our website to learn more about the resources and strategies available to support your academic success. You can also contact the Office of Admissions or the International Students and Programs Office to explore other resources available to you. And that actually concludes our portion of the common questions. So you can type additional questions that you may have in our Q&A portion and the Q&A box. But we're going to transition right now to talk briefly about virtual student engagement. So as you can see, there are many resources in place to support you as a student both for your remote learning as well as for any health and safety concerns you might have. But we also recognize that an integral part of the student experience is the student engagement and your connection with other students. So we want to highlight some of the things that we're both offering now as well as into the future. So what you see here is actually a list of programs that we are currently offering as virtual student engagement opportunities. These programs are open to both current and incoming students. And so if you would like to join us for ISPO Coffee Hour, Intercultural Social Hour, those are opportunities for you to connect socially and start to get to know other UC San Diego students. ISPO Chats and the Alone Together Emotional Support Forum were actually created specifically in response to COVID-19 and how it is impacting international students in unique and significant ways. So we are doing our best to be responsive to understanding the impact that COVID-19 has on our students, and specifically our international students, and we encourage you to participate. You can also check out our Facebook page to learn more about different events that may pop up. Another resource I wanted to highlight was our Globally Engaged Tritons calendar, which you can access by ievents.ucsd.edu. So our Globally Engaged Tritons calendar actually highlights a myriad of different events that focus on global engagement for our UC San Diego community. And the great thing about this is every event that you see here is actually, each and every one is a virtual event, so you can participate in these events from anywhere around the world. We're doing our best to offer events at a myriad of different times to include differing time zones of our students who may be located in different parts of the world. But again, by accessing ievents.ucsd.edu, you'll have a live calendar to access with all of these various opportunities. A new initiative that we are excited to have launched this spring quarter is our Global Hub. Our Global Hub is our one-stop shop for you to stay connected in an interconnected world. And so we encourage our Tritons to engage virtually, both with students in UC San Diego as well as students around the globe. And you can access this website through globalhub.ucsd.edu. And finally, I want to highlight our virtual student union. So the previous resources I've mentioned have focused a little bit on global engagement, whereas the virtual student union, as you can see, really highlights a myriad of different types of events. So everything from health and wellness to maybe more social to career to academic. And again, it's highlighting all virtual events. So any of our students are welcome to participate. And this was also in response to, we really want to make sure that you are still getting that student engagement piece as a part of your student experience, and thus wanted to highlight different opportunities for you to get involved in. So before we switch to our Q&A section of the webinar, I also wanted to take some time to highlight some different resources. So we are in the midst of our pre-arrival webinars season, and some upcoming webinars that we have that you might be interested in is first our undergraduate student housing webinar, and that is actually tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then additionally, we have our student life and getting involved on campus for undergraduate students webinar on May 28th at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, all of these webinars will be recorded and posted at iwebinars.ucsd.edu. But many of our students find that either watching the webinar live and asking their questions, or going back to this website and watching webinars that have already been recorded and posted is very helpful in their transition to UC San Diego. Another resource that our students find very helpful is our website, inewstudent.ucsd.edu. And this webpage has actually been created specifically for you as a newly admitted international student. And you can click on the undergraduate student box, and that will take you to what do I need to do? How can I make sure I'm prepared? And so it'll walk you through how to request your immigration documents. Additionally, how to prepare for your arrival and what to expect upon arrival. So we've created this webpage to be a helpful resource for our students and encourage you to check it out. And then finally, some other resources and links that our students find available. So again, you can see inewstudent.ucsd.edu. Our iTravel and the travel.state.gov helps we understand that this situation is rapidly changing and evolving, and a lot of updates will be posted on these various links to understand the latest and current information regarding COVID-19. So this is a list of websites that we encourage students to check out for any updated information. And you can also check out the last link, ispo.ucsd.edu/news/coronavirus-info, new students, to really understand how these changes and evolutions impact you as an incoming international student. All right, so thank you so much for joining us for our common questions and our student engagement piece. And right now we will focus on some of our Q&A. So we encourage you to put any questions that you still have that weren't answered in the common questions portion. And I'm actually going to I'll probably read aloud some of the questions that we're receiving, and then I'll ask Lisa Swid, our international student advisor, to maybe answer some of these questions. So our first question, it looks like, is it possible to join UCSD from online to in-person during a quarter? And for this question, we understand that fall quarter will be offered as an online option for our students, and then they can switch to in-person courses for winter 2021. So that is our expectation. That being said, again, the situation is evolving, and so we want to make sure that we're giving you the latest information, but please stay tuned as the situation continues to evolve. All right, Lisa, I'm going to go ahead and read aloud some of the questions that we've been receiving for the benefit of the group as a whole. So, do Chinese students need to stay in other countries for days before going to the US?
Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to refer everyone to our frequently asked questions on our website. So if you go to our main page, istudents.ucsd.edu, and then you scroll down, there's a section about coronavirus policy updates and frequently asked questions. And it's updated really frequently. So we would advise that you visit that page frequently to get the most up-to-date information. And it will provide links to, let's see, I'm gonna click on it now. So if you're outside the United States, there's a lot of questions there about international travel, and if you're about inbound travel to the United States. And then there's links to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Currently, right now, from what I understand, if you are entering the United States from China, you won't be allowed into the US if you've been there within the past 14 days. But please note that the situation is obviously evolving and information is changing rapidly. So just frequent these links for the most up-to-date information.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We have an additional question. So, is there any advice or instructions on how to extend my F1 visa if I need to remain in the US and the visa expiration date is near?
So an F1 visa is an entry document. So if you're currently in the United States and you are maintaining your F1 status, meaning that you're enrolled as a full-time student, then it's okay for your F1 visa to actually expire. So you can think of the visa like a key. So you need the visa to enter the United States, but once you're here, you don't actually need it. So if you depart and need to come back in, then you need to renew it. But it's not possible to renew your visa while in the United States. You have to be outside the United States in order to extend it. I guess the question is, are you asking about your visa or your F1 status? If it's your F1 status and you are enrolled full-time as a student, then you're okay to be in the United States with an expired visa. However, if you are reaching the end of your program, so your program end date on your I-20 is coming up soon, then options to extend would be perhaps to apply for optional practical training, or work with your department or academic advisors to see if it's possible to extend if there are additional academic requirements for your program.
All right, our next question is, can I do remote fall start if I am somewhere else in the States? And I can actually go ahead and answer this question. So our remote fall enrollment and learning is actually being offered to our non-resident students. So that is including our international students, as well as our out-of-state students. So if you are somewhere else out in the United States outside of California, you can still participate in remote learning for the fall quarter. Okay, our next question is there any chance that all classes will be online? So UC San Diego is actually offering a few different options when it comes to classes offered for fall 2020. So very common classes that are taken are being offered online, but there are some classes that will be offered in person. So certain labs and things of that nature need to be offered in person, and so those will be the types of classes that are offered in person. But we hope that there's going to be such a plethora of classes offered that you can start with your fall quarter classes, and then as you continue throughout your degree, take other classes that need to be in person once you arrive to campus. All right, Lisa, another question we're receiving is, if there is a change in my I-20 address, should I email ISPO about that change?
Yeah, you should email inewstudent@ucsd.edu just to make sure that we have your most up-to-date information. I'm not sure if you mean your mailing address for your I-20 or perhaps your permanent address or your current address. So just to make sure that we have your correct information, just go ahead and email inewstudent@ucsd.edu.
Another question we have is, if my grades for my final semester at my current high school will not be available until after July 1st, what should I do?
In that case, you should contact the undergraduate admissions office for guidance on what to do. You can either email them or you can set up a Zoom advising appointment with them to figure out what your next steps are. Okay, I see there's a question about there's somebody who has an I-20 with an early start date and wondering if they need to contact ISPO to change it to a fall start date. It depends. I would suggest that you email inewstudent again at ucsd.edu just to make sure that you have the correct information. If it's a summer, if there's like a special program and you're a graduate student, then perhaps the early start is the correct date. But if you're an undergraduate and you'll be enrolled in the summer studying remote, then the fall start date would be the correct date on your I-20. So just email inewstudent@ucsd.edu just to make sure you have your correct information on your I-20.
I see we have another question here regarding the vaccination requirements. So if you fear that you cannot complete the vaccination requirements before the start of the fall quarter, you can reach out to Student Health Services, and they are a great resource, a great campus partner, and work with them about what it looks like to complete your vaccination requirements. And I'll go ahead and type that link in the chat.
Somebody asked if we would recommend that you return home or stay in the United States. It's really a personal choice, but just be aware that if you do decide to return home, then you might have issues coming back to the United States. So just keep in mind the risks involved with returning to the United States. Being aware that, of course, you can, for the fall, you will be able to do remote learning. So, you can still obviously be a UCSD student and enrolled, but re-entering the United States might pose some challenges. So just keep that in mind when making your decision.
I see that we're getting some questions regarding if there is a possibility for remote courses to be suddenly offered in person if the COVID situation changes. At this time, we don't have any official information regarding this, but as information continues to change and the situation evolves, please stay updated on some of the websites we listed previously in the presentation, and that will be your best source of news regarding coronavirus and specifically at UC San Diego.
I see that somebody asked if you enroll in classes remotely, whether the lectures will be recorded. And that would be the hope that they are recorded, but we have received some feedback from students that it's not always recorded. So it will really depend on the professor and the course. Also be aware that if you're, back home and taking classes remotely, there will be the time difference. So just be aware when you're enrolling in classes, what time the classes are offered and the time difference between California and your hometown. You would have to check with the professor to find out if the lectures will be recorded or not.
All right, so that looks like, that looks like all the questions that we have time for today. If you have any specific questions regarding your certain situation, I encourage you to reach out and go to icontact@ucsd.edu. That's a great resource for you to get in contact with the International Students and Programs Office and ask some of the more specific questions you may have. We hope that this webinar has been useful for you. We really value our student leaders and our student orgs and making sure that we can maintain the best communication for you all. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all later.